When I started this channel, I was literally drafting from inside of my garage. It was puppies, poodles, some best ball mania 4 teams, and to think that we would hit 200 plus subscribers was never part of the plan. The only goal of this channel is to have fun drafting and to get out there and interact with the best ball community, which I always say is the best community in fantasy football. So I'm super excited for uh, all of the things we have ahead this summer, drafting the 500 subscriber goal, which is now something that I think is achievable that we can do together. If you're new here, if you're watching this in the future, come get in on the fun, come draft with us, hang out in the chat, get your fantasy questions answered. Some of the sharpest people in all of fantasy in the best ball community. And from time to time, they like to hang out in this channel too. So we're going to make it happen. The schedule release dropped last week. We've been drafting fast and furious ever since. And we're still only getting started. The summer has just begun. Next week, starting tomorrow, huge schedule coming up for the channel. We have the very first episode of BALLSY with Bindles and myself kicking off tomorrow night around this time. You're gonna want to be there. It's gonna be a great time, a lot of fun. We're gonna be doing that all summer long, answering dynasty questions, reviewing our teams, and drafting best ball manias. Tuesday, I have Billy Jones coming on for the first official Tool Time Tuesday with Chris, and we're gonna be talking through some data, also drafting some teams. It only gets better. We got Emo Cowboy on Wednesday, drafting best ball manias. We got Meg on Thursday coming on from the Fanspeak Network. And then the rest of the weekend, we got some more things cooking up. You're going to want to be here for it. So without further ado, let's kick it to the BALLSY promo.
Because I'm ballsy. I don't take no shit from anyone. Because I'm a stud. I'm ballsy. Anywhere I want.
That gets me hyped up. Bindles and I have been cooking behind the scenes. It's going to be a great show tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we're just going to build the plane as we fly it, although we've done a lot of the groundwork already. So I'm pretty stoked for y'all to be a part of that and to be co-hosting a show with Bindles, who I think is very sharp fantasy mind, both in Dynasty and in Best Ball. I forgot to join a draft because I got so caught up in the intro. But if y'all want to get in, it's going to be a 30-second Best Ball Mania. 30-second one. We've got the schedule out. We've memorized the buys. We're waiting on 4. We've memorized the Week 17. And we're going to use it to our advantage. We're going to be drafting some super teams, some correlated rosters, stacking all of the strategies you need to win a large field tournament to take down a $2 million prize. We're going to be talking about it here on this channel all summer long, drafting these tournaments. This is a Best Ball Mania. So we're going to be focused in, locked in. Let's do it. Still waiting on 3 more if you want to get in on this 30-second BBM. Let's see what y'all are up to tonight, my guys. We got Nick Bach in here. Garage King, what up, my man? How you doing? If you missed out, Nick and I drafted some eliminators late. Was that Friday night? Late Friday night. A lot of fun on his channel. Great times. And this one is starting. Let me change. Get the new background. There we go. So let's get into it. You know what? I want to share it a different way. Let me go ahead and I can maximize. I can just share the whole screen. I think it's a little bit bigger. There we go. That's the way I like it. From the 11 spot, which means if you're in the 12 spot, I'm about to ruin your day. I'm going to take every player that falls of value, and I'm not going to let you get away with this room. We've got, BBG in the 1 spot. Literally, I just finished wrapping up all of my parenting duties. I had BBG and BINDLES stream on, of course, was in there. So we got BBG jumping in. All right. Everyone else in this room, sorry, FK. Looks like we already know who's advancing. It's the 1 spot and the 11 spot. Everyone else is just here to participate and watch greatness happen. Very fun. Great stream, too. Fun having BINDLES on, of course. FFE was saying he finds himself doing a lot of hero builds in best ball drafts. We've all been there. I think I probably did about 40% hero builds. I had the numbers for Best Ball Mania last year. I had the numbers written down at some point. I was using a bunch of different tools to review my teams. One of them was like the My Fantasy Life Best Ball tool. I think I was about 40% hero builds, about 40% or a little bit less than that, true zero RB. And then I would sprinkle in like double anchor running back or more robust running back only about 20% of the time in total. I'm a little bit more balanced, I think, this year after seeing some of the data that Billy Jones has put out, thinking more about having a varied portfolio structure. I don't know what my exact percentages are going to be this year, but I'm definitely leaning less into, to a slight extent, leaning less into zero RB, but not giving up on it. And I think, I wonder if it's a better time of year to do zero RB now, early summer, or late further into the summer when we have some more information. Because right now, I don't like taking running backs who could end up being like the RB3 on their team versus like the guaranteed contingent RB2 type of play. And then also, there's still going to be injuries that happen during the offseason that we got to account for. So I don't know. I don't know which way I'm going to go with that yet. What up, Hartman? How you doing tonight? Hope you're having a good Sunday, wrapping up the weekend, getting ready for a great week, guys. Rabona King, how many teams have you drafted so far in each tournament? That's a great question. I've done 20 Best Ball Manias. This is number 21. I've done close to 50 puppies. I'm going to max the Schnauzer, but it's a lot of slow drafts for that one, actually. I've got like 7 slow drafts going right now that I pretty much just started. I'll take a Neighbors at 11. I like that. It's any wide receiver in this range. And then do you want to take another wide receiver? Am I going to get lucky and get McCaffrey? I will pull the trigger on McCaffrey at 14. Otherwise, I can get Brian Thomas or AJ Brown. So it's going to be good either way. But yeah, how many teams have you done, Rabona King? What is that? Like 20 plus 50, 70? I'm probably close to like 80, 85 drafts since the NFL draft. And we're almost 2 weeks. Was that 2 weeks ago? This Wednesday. So getting them in. What up, Seth? How you doing? Oh, Sco Chargers. Great dummy. I like that. Bolt up. Yeah, I like that. It just looks good. It's the powder blue. It's the yellow. It looks good together. What up, Dirty? How you doing? Do a sprint. Yeah, I've done 1 sprint, 1 or 2 sprints. I've done only like 2 or 3 eliminators. And then I've done drafts on other people's stream. Like I've done drafts with a few other streamers. So I'm not counting those into my total drafts. But if I did, I'm probably close to like 90 drafts. Let's get radical. Yeah, the radicalized zero RB bros. I think it was Davis Maddock who put out on one of his streams this week. I remember watching it, and that was kind of the inspiration for the radical zero RB. He was talking about getting radical different structures, boomer structures. I think one of the videos Davis put out this week, he was drafting a boomer ass team, is what he was calling it, and just getting different team structures. My ultimate goal is just to draft the best player available at all times. Tie breaks based on week 17 correlation, strategically avoiding, the bipocalypse week 8 and that kind of thing in obvious ways, like at the onesie positions, QB, tight end, but also at wide receiver, running back, making sure I've got a strong, super high floor for scoring every single week, which is something that I've been thinking up for my eliminator drafts, but I think it carries into this contest too. Obviously, we're building for week 17. We're building for the playoffs. You want to build a team that's so optimized for week 17 that if you happen to get there, as you're competing against hundreds of other teams, the most teams you're going to compete against the entire tournament is in week 17. You only have to beat 10 teams through weeks 1 to 14, and then you got to beat a dozen twice, right? Or so around that. And in the final, you get to face hundreds of teams at once who have all gone through a gauntlet to get there. So you really want to optimize for week 17. I think we all know that, but it's not going to hurt you if you can do some smart things on all of your rosters to make sure you're advancing at or above the field. And not necessarily that you have to focus so much on advancing, but if you just construct teams well, you should be advancing. And one of my other takes is not to be overexposed, especially in the first, I would say 6 to 9 rounds. I'll say 9 rounds, not to be overexposed to any one player above 30%, just because of the injury risk. Last year, I took 59 Nico Collins teams in Best Ball Mania 5. Looked really good for a while. Didn't look so good for 6 weeks because of a hamstring. So the injuries can cost you a lot. That and then Nico Collins, week 17 with the Ravens, not a good situation. So you don't want to be overexposed to one game in week 17 either by having whatever, almost 40% Nico Collins. I'm really making a huge bet there. So this year I've resolved to do things a little differently, and we'll see how it turns out. What up, meat? How we doing tonight? Hope everyone's had a great weekend. I've had a really fun weekend, just spending time outside, spending time with family, getting some drafts in late at night, getting ready for, I think it's going to be a pretty good week, and then catching some of the PGA Championship. Shout out to my Longhorn brother, Scotty Scheffler, grabbing his 3rd major, doing it in style. The guy is a stud. He's ballsy. He doesn't take shit from anyone. He smokes stogies inside the house. Ballsy premiering tomorrow night with Bindles and myself. Be there for it, 8:30 p.m. Central on this channel. Bindles and I think we're going to be talking about, Terry at 33. A little slide on Terry McLaurin, who I think is a great pick in the 3rd round. We're going to be talking about our recent rookie dynasty drafts. I've got one that I did the week of the NFL draft, and it's looking really good. The values that I've been able to, like the way the ADPs have changed in the last week and a half, I think I got really lucky on the picks that I made. I went RB heavy. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get like a Colston Loveland. He's probably one of my favorite picks in the back half of the 1st round of those, but I did get Travis Hunter at the 105. So for being at the front half of a rookie draft, 12 teams, and my last year, the season I had last year in that dynasty league just kind of got wrecked when Dak got injured. I'm too fragile at QB. It's super flex, and I also didn't have a strong tight end group. It's tight end premium, so I still need to make a trade to get a better tight end, but I'm in a good spot with my running backs and wide receivers. And then if Dak is healthy, I've got a competitive build for sure. Might go Travis Hunter here. I've got the Bears, bring back from McCaffrey, 49ers. I've got the Jets and the Patriots, and then I've got Las Vegas neighbors. So to me, I'll just take Travis Hunter on this pick. I'm going to skip out on the elite QBs. And I've been feeling pretty strongly about the good values you can get with more of like a mid to late QB build. Of course, the QB pocket, but then also the late tight ends, I think, are really well priced. So we've still got a lot of options. Also, we'll see. I don't think I've ever seen Kittle fall to pick 59, but that would be fun for this one. Might have to sprinkle in some more Bears than I usually do. Could have gone DJ Moore there. I've got a slow Best Ball Mania. I accidentally entered it, but I've got one going, and I think it's in the middle of round 4 or 5 right now. I actually took DJ Moore with Christian McCaffrey in that one. I felt like a little bit of a reach, but we'll see. We got Anthony, Best Ball on Call. What up? Yeah, BBG in the 1. We're going to bully the 12 spot. That's just how it goes. If you're in the 1 spot or the 12 spot and I'm in the 2 or the 11, you got to bully him a little bit. So far, I haven't had to do much. He goes Derrick Henry, which allowed me to go McCaffrey. So he's kind of helping me out already. So is BBG, he must still be live then. Let me double check that. That's hilarious. Yes, it looks like it. I'm in his chat right now. LOL. That's funny. I didn't realize I was just watching Bindles on there. I didn't realize he was still live. And I was like, oh, he joined the room. He's in here. But no, we're competing against him now. So I take back what I said. It's gonna be me and Coolers in the 2 spot who advance out of this pod. We're gonna take down BBG. He's now the enemy. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, but I'm also dead serious. We're taking down BBG in this one. Rake is paid. I like his team so far. I think Garrett Wilson's fine at pick 25. Maybe he's trying to get a little bit different with no, actually McBride and Harrison were already gone. I kind of expected Harrison to be there. So Garrett Wilson over Rashee Rice. Do you guys see Sam Sherman's post today on Twitter? Also, if you don't follow me on Twitter, consider following me at FFB Garage. Try not to be all memes. Try not to be somewhat useful information. Try not to be all promotion. But if you follow, you'll know when I'm going live and the schedule. And also, I try to post some good data and analysis, and then just retweeting other content creators and other things that I find interesting. But one of the things I saw that Sam Sherman put out today was an analysis of wide receivers, young wide receivers, and the ones he looked at were Garrett Wilson, JSN, it was Chris Olave. Who else was in it? I have to pull it up, but it was another late wide receiver, and he was making the case. There's a bunch of Alabama and Ohio State wideouts. Jerry Jeudy was the other one. He's making a case of why are we drafting Jerry Jeudy and Olave so much later than we're drafting Garrett Wilson, JSN, and the other one that I said. I already forgot, but it was interesting. Something to look into. I guess I could pull it up. Oh, that's hilarious. Anthony just sent me a link on Twitter, a DM. There's a channel called Fantasy Football Formula. I'm not super familiar with them, but they're also in this draft. I'm trying to figure out which team they are. They're the Lamar Jackson team. So Kellison A3 is another streamer. So we've got 3 streamers in one draft room right now. Pretty crazy odds that would happen. That's so funny. So they've got the Lamar Jackson team here. We got BBG in the 1 spot. He takes Hampton. Decent value on Hampton. He has been falling. Zay Flowers, another good pick that I like. RJ Harvey goes pretty quick in this one to Bitcoin, who we've seen in a bunch of these rooms. FK gets Pickens and George Kittle. Laporta goes super early. So there's some interesting things happening. I'm going to be up pretty soon with pick 59 and 62. I think the receiver that I want is still going to be there, like almost guaranteed. So I'm going to take the running back that I like here. Let me just double check. Yeah. I'm going Joe Mixon. Can't go wrong. So I've taken 2 wide receivers, Malik Neighbors, Travis Hunter. Got Christian McCaffrey, Breece Hall, Joe Mixon through my first 5 picks. I just know the wide receiver I want still going to be there. Joe Burrow still available. Kind of crazy. Let's see what the turn pick does. He takes Kamara. I consider it for a second, but I get a falling value on Mixon that I like. He goes Jerry Jeudy, so not who I thought he would go with at all, really. I'm going to go Chris Olave here. Just seems like a good value pick. Wide receiver 1 on his team. Who's the quarterback? We don't know. We'll figure it out, though. Maybe Olave's healthy, not going through the concussions this season. There's obviously the injury concern, but he's my wide receiver 3. We've been drafting him like a wide receiver 2 in best ball for years. So I think it's a decent value. Meet people will be telling, yeah, so we've got FK in here, of course. You guys know him, love him. He's always drafting with us. Me in the 11. Kellison is in the whatever spot that is. 7 spot. Pretty good looking start. A good value on Josh Jacobs and Lamar Jackson. He comes back with Waddle. Oh, Waddle was the other wideout that was in Sam Sherman. There's 5 wideouts in his analysis. It was Jerry Jeudy, Olave, Waddle, Garrett Wilson, and JSN. And his argument's essentially that they're all about the same, but we take 2 of them in round 3, and the other 3 we take in like round 5, 6 range. So it's somewhat compelling of a reason to be more bullish on being able to get another wideout in this 5, 6 range that you like. I mean, I take a bunch of Calvin Ridley. I'll take Cortland Sutton all day. Pickens is rising, but I'll still take him. I think it's really in round 6 where it's tough to take a wideout over the available running backs. And I don't always like preset what kind of build I'm going to go with, but I almost came out and said like I need to take more running backs in this range and hold off and get the wide receivers early so that I can take advantage of like a Ken Walker, Travion Henderson, and James Conner here as my RB, potentially 1, do like a late anchor, or maybe just the RB2, and then have more of a balanced kind of mix. But no, I'm just loving, I set my own ranks. I've been updating my ranks ever since I've been updating them almost daily, but essentially every couple of days since the NFL draft, I've been staying on top of them. And this is what I've got so far. So I'm sticking to my ranks, and then I'm going to end up getting the best value I can, correlating where I can, especially in the later half of the draft. I don't think I've got any big issues so far with bye weeks or anything. If I look at it, all of my running backs and wide receivers, both of those positional groups have completely separated buys. I've got CMC and Neighbors with week 14 bye. But other than that, my core 6 skill position players, my running backs and wide receivers, should be on the field. I should have 5 of them on the field most weeks. So that feels pretty good. What was Nick saying? Yeah, go 0 RB later because you'll know some of these things. I think that can be true. It could be a good time to go with like robust running back. Rabunda's at 35. Did most of them day 1. So much value is happening. I would agree. I did 4 Best Ball Manias the day of the NFL draft. Yeah. Well, I did a bunch, but even before that. No, I'm thinking back to the day Best Ball Mania opened. I did 4 Best Ball Manias on opening day, and I got RJ Harvey at pick 74 in one of them. So that feels pretty nice. One of my only RJ Harvey shares to this point. I want to draft him. He doesn't come back to me. I'm pick 59. He's there at 51. It's like I can't get him. He's hard to get. Yeah, if only we knew about DJ Giddens. I drafted a ton of Giddens in pre-NFL draft best ball tournaments like the big board. Yeah, I know Hartman. We'll get Rice healthy. I think he'll be good again. Scotty Scheffler. The dude is good. Scotty Scheffler is very good. Yeah, Rahm was in there for a minute, but no one could keep up. Almost on the clock, picks 83 and 86. I probably would have taken Reed there. I don't think I need Hawkinson on this team. Mahomes is there, but I don't obviously have any connection to Mahomes. So I'm going to go ahead and take my guy, Darnell Mooney, pick 83. I think Darnell Mooney is the best pick in the 8th round. I'll take him in the 7th round, especially on a build like this where I'm happy to get another wide receiver. And I'm probably going to go right back to it, get another wide out with my next pick because it looks like, unless I just want Hawkinson on this one, and I don't feel like super strong that I want to. He goes with Ayuk. I guess Ayuk could have been a good pick for me. If I think I want to get more 49ers on this one, I could have considered Ayuk there and then got Mooney afterwards. So maybe that's what I should have done. I don't take a lot of Ayuk though. I probably should take more if I'm drafting so much Diggs. Ayuk had a similar injury, similar time frame. I mean, I've got a ton of Ibuka, right? A ton of Burden. It's going to be one of those guys. I did a tiebreaker for Burden to get the bring back with San Francisco. Otherwise, happy to go Ibuka there. But I've got a bunch of both of them. Let me on my best ball overlay, I'm gonna make sure I've got it turned on to just. I have it on all tournaments. I'm gonna go just best ball mania. Do a quick refresh. Catch up with y'all. I'm so far behind. Yeah, Judy and Waddle. So you saw that too, Hartman. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, Anthony. Thanks for good looking out. Good looking out. Appreciate you shooting that over. It's just funny. I'll have to check those guys out. I'm not really familiar with them. So I go Darnell Mooney, Luther Burden. This is a squad so far. I've got 3 really nice running backs. McCaffrey and Breece Hall, 2 guys going in the first round last year. Of course, injury in McCaffrey. And Breece Hall coming back from the injury himself and from his 2023 injury, but looking good. I did a little write-up. I moved Breece Hall to pick 30 in my ranks overall. I did a little Twitter write-up on him. The offensive line's been improving. The new OC, the new coach, they're going to run the ball a lot more. Breece is still the workhorse guy there. He catches a ton of balls too. If he can get some more touchdowns, he can even have a higher rushing ceiling. I'm not that confident in Braylon Allen. I kind of fade him a little bit. I think Isaiah Davis is just as good or better. But we need Braylon Allen to take a big step forward. He's still young. He can do it. They even signed undrafted free agent Donovan Edwards from Michigan, who's kind of a stud in his own right. Surprised he went undrafted. Fell off a little bit last year after a great year in 2023, and then pretty good year, decent year, all right year with Corum, really taking over more of the workload when they won the Natty. But I think Donovan Edwards could be something. He can catch a lot of balls too. I think he's pretty good at that. So maybe he can fill that role. But Isaiah Davis looked good in his limited action. Still a small sample size for him and Braylon Allen. But I'd hope that Breece just takes over the role. And then Fields opening up running lanes for Breece because of the linebackers having to stay honest and follow Fields in case he checks it down. Or not checks it down, but just keeps the ball and starts running with it. So keeping those lanes open for Breece Hall should be a big thing. We'll see if it's just a better overall team and coaching chemistry too, now that Aaron Rodgers is not there. I like to get a bunch of Fields. Kicker first pick, says Milk P. What up, Green Bean? How you doing tonight, my man? Hope you're having a great... Hope you've had a great weekend. Hope you're ready for a nice week. What are you guys looking forward to this week? I'm just looking forward to drafting more teams. I got a bunch of great guests coming on. I was saying it at the beginning. Tomorrow, it's the first official Ballsy episode on this channel with Bindles. 8:30 p.m. Central. Be there. Tuesday, Billy Jones, getting into the data, the numbers. Wednesday, gonna be with Emo Cowboy, none other, world famous. And we'll be drafting some teams. It's gonna be a good time, of course. Meg from Fanspeak coming on Thursday. We're gonna be talking about the Fanspeak Best Ball subscription. I'm a subscriber. I read all of their articles. Super sharp stuff. I think of what they're doing as, two really great fantasy minds. And of course, they've got other team members that work with them too. But I'm talking about Meg and Steve, and they're aggregating all of the need to know information, leveraging their experience as fantasy and best ball players, and then cooking up some nice articles, some really, I would say, efficient reads. Nothing too crazy long, but things that get to the point, give you actionable information. So I'm excited to talk with Meg on Thursday about what they've got cooking up for their best ball subscription. Check it out. And then Friday and the rest of the weekend, I've got some other things in the works. Don't want to reveal too much yet until it gets more concrete, but it's going to be a lot of fun drafts this week. So stick around. Consider subscribing to the channel if you're into best ball and fantasy content, because there's going to be a lot of it all summer long right here. And you could be a big part of it too. Okay. Baker Mayfield's still there. Would you guys take a falling Baker Mayfield 17 picks past ADP and then just figure out how to backstack him? Okay, I don't have to make that decision anymore. Jordan Mason's there, one of my favorite clicks. I'm probably going to do it. There's also Brock Purdy, who I could take. I might just take Purdy to get it over with, go with the Christian McCaffrey stack, not let the guy in the 12 spot who also needs a QB take him, since he just took Ayuk. So I've talked myself into it. I'm going Brock Purdy. And then on my next pick, there's three running backs I like decently here, as well as Colston Loveland. I might wait on Colston Loveland. I think his ADP is going to... I love him. I'm drafting him everywhere I can. I think his ADP is going to fall a little bit because people might not have known about his shoulder injury and that he's still recovering from it, the offseason shoulder injury. If you're not following him very closely in his kind of story arc, you might not have known that. So I think it's become a little bit more public recently, and we might be able to get Colston Loveland outside of the 10th round, which would be a huge steal. Kind of like maybe where Tyler Warren is going right now. So Loveland would be good on this team. Again, building for that Week 17 game where it's the 49ers versus the Bears. I might just do that. I might just take Colston Loveland because I've already committed to Brock Purdy. Jordan Mason would have been my pick there for running back. You guys know I love him. Getting him at 109 just feels amazing. I'll take him even at pick 98, anywhere in that range. Charbonnet's on my team. I could do Charbonnet because he plays... Well, I was thinking Charbonnet or Tootin otherwise, but let me go ahead and take Loveland here. Charbonnet would have made more sense if I took T-Mac with my with my pick in the 4th round. Been doing that a lot, so I don't take enough Charbonnet for how much I take T-Mac. And then the other part of it... See, I was talking about taking Colston Loveland later. I still pull the trigger. I'm way in on Colston Loveland. Get him, get Burden, get the cheaper pieces in the Bears offense. They just invested a ton of draft capital in and real NFL capital, so they're going to use him. I'm not worried about the shoulder injury. But I also could have taken Bashal Tootin here at pick 110. It's a little early, not that early though. He goes in this round. Would have been another bet on the Jaguars since I do have Travis Hunter. So I'll scroll down to the board, do a quick review of what I've got so far. I've got a 1-3-5-1 build through 10 rounds. I've taken QB and tight end, my last two picks 9 and 10. That's one of my favorite things to do. This is the QB pocket. The tight ends are all good in the later half of the draft. Stock up on skill position players, the running backs and the wideouts early, build a squad, and then just make it come together in these middle rounds. So that's what I did. I waited a little bit on QB and tight end, but I still got some great picks. Got Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey stacked up. I've got the bringbacks already set up for me with Luther Burden and Colston Loveland, who I just took. Other running backs, Breece Hall, Joe Mixon. I really like having 3 workhorse running backs, 3 guys that are guaranteed to be the RB1 in their offense. To me, you can go with 2. You can go with a true hero build and have 1, but having 3 just feels like a super high weekly floor, week in and week out, that you're going to want. Hopefully I'm not having some issues. It says my Wi-Fi connection is bad right now, but I'm actually plugged in via Ethernet cable. Let me just check that it's plugged in real quick. It says I've got a low signal, so I don't know what's going on. Let me know if in the chat if y'all are getting if it's getting a bad signal. If y'all can still see me and hear me all right. So I got the running backs, Hall and Mixon. I went Neighbors and Hunter. Took Olave right at ADP. Think he's probably a good value. All the fear around the Saints, who the QB should be. Darnell Mooney, he keeps rising. One of my favorite picks, like I said, in the 8th round. I took him in the end of the 7th. And then Burden. I'm in on both Egbuka and Burden. I think they're both good. I think they can both hit. Hopefully they hit year 1 for my best ball bags sake, but how you doing, Green Bean? FK was tempted to take Burrow because it would have been on 3 streams. Yeah. So Burrow ended up going 72 to BBG. You guys, this is a best ball mania, and we let BBG pretty much get the nuts on the Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Burrow at 72 pick. If y'all didn't see that earlier, wild stuff. At least he doesn't have Marvin Harrison or Trey McBride. But it's a pretty sweet team. I'm gonna have to send him a message after this that I'm really jealous how nice his team is. And he's gonna be posting on Twitter. So get your comments ready. When BBG posts that he got the combo, he finally pulled it off. I don't know if we're gonna congratulate him or what we're gonna come up with. Yeah, he pulled it off. We let him get it somehow. Mooney's the money. I think so. I think Mooney's good. If Moore is out of town, which I don't know yet, but I think even with Moore there, Burden can still be effective in year 1. Prescott's there. Can I do something with Prescott and the Commanders this late in the game? Probably not. Seems like a good value at ADP. I don't know why Prescott's still available. I would rather go Trevor Lawrence for my sake because of the Travis Hunter stack, and I could get Penix also. Purdy's a week 14 bye. Trevor Lawrence. Does he have Brian Thomas, right? So I got to take Trevor Lawrence here, even though Dak Prescott's there. I don't have a good way to play Prescott without CD or Pickens. Just looking at my options here. I got to take Trevor Lawrence, and then maybe I can push again on QB instead of going Penix. I considered ETN there. I don't take a lot of ETN, but I would have considered it. The other player I'm thinking about is Tajay Spears. There'll be some indie receivers later I can grab. Do I just take the value on Dak Prescott, though, and then figure it out later? Maybe I do that. What are the odds Ferguson comes back around? Essentially 0. But I feel like the value on Dak there is just too good. We already know he's going to be throwing a CD. He gets Pickens. Dak's been rising up boards. I've got him ranked really high. In my ranks, I've got Dak 110 overall. I get him there at pick 134. And his ADP has been rising too. It's 118, 119. So 15 picks of ADP value in the 12th round is pretty strong. Wraps up my QB situation. Didn't have to think too much about that one. Now I just got to figure out. There'll definitely be Colt pieces later on, wide receivers. So I'll keep that in mind. I don't think there's any other 49ers I really want. Could be a Jalen Tolbert team with a last pick. We'll see what we can do around. I'm pretty sure Blue and Ferguson are going to be off the board this round. That's kind of a bummer too. Blue's already gone. Blue's already 130, but Ferguson's going to be off the board this round. Yeah, I would like that. Yeah, like I said, I've got Hall ranked number 30 overall. I'll pick him anywhere past that. Hell yeah, Bindles. Let's go. Yeah, I'll definitely be checking that. You've been pumping out some great media over the last couple days. I'm excited for tomorrow night. Signal seems fine. Okay. I was getting a weird signal. Top left corner of the screen. It said the Wi-Fi was 1 bar. It was weak. I'm not on Wi-Fi though. I'm plugged into the Ethernet, so I hope it's good. What up, Chris B? How you doing tonight, my friend? Appreciate you coming out strong, supporting the channel. Too kind, my friend. Hope you're doing well. What's new with the Jets? Got Who Hames in the house. Sup, fam? Hope you've had a great weekend, Who Hames. I know you're working hard, sneaking some streams in when you can. Who Hames, did you see the news yet? BBG just won Best Ball Mania, and we let it happen in a triple streamed room. BBG streaming in the one spot. Kelisona is streaming from whatever spot that is. I'm obviously here in the 11th spot, and we let BBG get a double stack Joe Burrow with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Luckily, he doesn't have Trey McBride or Marvin Harrison, but we're going to be seeing a Twitter post from BBG in less than 30 minutes. I don't know if we all just congratulate him or we can come up with something clever in the chat. Let me know. He does figure out a way to slowly erode the incredible team that he built, though. Not because of Judkins or Fields. I like those picks. Maybe because of Travis Kelce. I think he could have pushed for late tight end. I can't hate on Christian Kirk. I moved him down in my ranks because I think Jalen Noel could just be good. Hollywood Brown, but the combo of Christian Kirk and Hollywood Brown is kind of a very similar bet. So just from my perspective, I would have said take one, but not both of those guys. His running back situation, Hampton and Judkins. I mean, it's 2 workhorse running backs, but he waited a while to go Benson and Davis. I like Benson makes a lot of sense on this team, actually. I like that for him. I just don't know how active Benson's going to be with James Conner holding down the role. He passed on James Conner for... No, he didn't have the chance to get him. Obviously, he would have gone James Conner instead of Quinshon if he had the chance. I think Gray Davis is a good pick there too. So he's making it back up at the running back position, I think. But he went pretty thin. Otherwise, if he took a running back here, 120, 121, he could have gotten... Yeah, it just was bad. He probably wanted to go Tootin. I bet you he was looking to take Tootin, and then he didn't have the chance. So that makes sense, actually. Like I said, Ferguson went pretty soon after I took Dak. I have to figure out what to do with Dak here. Just a last round Tolbert or Turpin even. pretty gross, but I think the value on Dak there is just so good, and then the weekly floor that he'll provide at QB. Maybe I can get a Washington player. I don't think there's that many left besides Ertz that I like, but Ertz could make a lot of sense too for me on this one. Eckler's going to be there. Eckler's gone. Spoke too soon. I really hate the wide receivers in this range. Why was I thinking Tampa Bay? Tampa Bay plays Miami. I don't need Tampa Bay, but I think I will take Rachaad White there. Just a decent value. 11 picks past ADP. I've already been drafting a good amount of Rachaad White. Do I take Garendo on this one? I feel like I should not take Garendo, but he is falling. Just lock down the 49ers backfield. Maybe it's worth it. I'm going to consider taking Garendo here. I could do it on this build. It would actually look really nice and then be done at running back. Lock down the San Francisco backfield. Breece Hall, Joe Mixon, Rachaad White. Puts me up a little bit in a tough spot in week 9 for covering buys with just McCaffrey, Garendo, Mixon, but I think I could pull it off. The wide receivers look so bad here. And then tight end, there's no one I need. Reach a little bit on Ertz. Let me reach a little bit on Ertz. I think Ertz is good and a good pick there. I like him paired up with Jaden Daniels. A bring back for Dak Prescott. And it's only 7 picks that I grabbed him, so he would have gone in this round anyways. I missed out on Ferguson and some of these other kind of mid-late tight ends. So this feels like an appropriate range. I seriously considered going Garendo because he's also falling right now. He's like almost 20 picks past ADP. I don't think it would be a bad idea to take Garendo on a team where you have McCaffrey. If you're getting this much value on him so cheap in round 14, you just lock up that backfield. So it's not like a handcuff situation. It's like you expect Garendo to hit some weeks too. He's a big play waiting to happen, especially in the pass game. So it kind of made sense to go with Purdy also. And the fact there's no other San Fran skill position players that I'd want on this team. I don't think I'd go like DeMarcus Robinson last round. It's probably not even worth it. Maybe though. Maybe on this one. We'll see how thin wide receiver gets. Yeah, Penix can sling it. I know exactly what you're saying. Reflect the sun. I got to figure out how to get more Michael Penix Jr. on my teams. I take so much Mooney, but I feel like I don't have enough Penix Jr. And then I got to get more London too, and so a little bit more Bijan because that gives me one more out to take Michael Penix later. You're helping him push it, Hames. You're part of the problem, Hames. Are you trying to lose Best Ball Mania to BBG? He can't resist Hollywood. Yeah, that's true. He goes Freiermuth, Pat Bryant. Ooh, Pat Bryant. I mean, I like the pick. It's pretty ballsy there going at pick 15. Maybe I talked him into it. I don't know if I mentioned Pat Bryant enough with him recently, but I think everyone's just in on Pat Bryant. And he does it because he's got so much invested in the Chiefs. So he's looking for a nice Denver piece. He maybe should have considered Michael Wilson there over Pat Bryant. I will say that. Because I mean all of his chips are pushed in on the Bengals game in week 17. So I probably would have taken Michael Wilson over Pat Bryant. If Dobbs is there, I'll take him just for the falling value. I do need a wide receiver. There's not that many good ones in this range. Dobbs goes. I could have considered taking Brenton Strange at pick 55, but Rashad White seemed like the better pick at the time. Probably still is. Devin Neal could be something. Could wait for Giddens. I got 4 running backs. I got to do something in wide receiver. I almost never draft this guy. It's probably my first Keenan Allen. But I think it works on this team. As long as he's playing, I didn't need to take a running back there. At this point, I'm just going to wait at tight end even more, I think. One old, one young. Keenan Allen, Adonai Mitchell. I don't even know where I think like Keenan Allen might end up. I haven't really. Maybe the Jets. I don't know. Maybe they bring him in somewhere that like with a rookie QB could be. It'd be weird in the Saints, but maybe it would make sense for the Giants. Are y'all drafting Keenan Allen? I think that's the first time I've clicked him in a long time. I know Pat is big in on Keenan Allen. I think he was even talking up Keenan Allen earlier today. And just the fact that he's a good value at ADP because wherever he lands, he's going to rise up a board. He's going to rise up around maybe. And I think that's true. The risk is just like, when is he going to sign? How much can he still play? I might stop at 4 running backs the way I built it. I think I easily could. Or I could just stop with those 2 tight ends. I might do that too. So I'm going to leave it up to whatever's there. I could definitely take. I definitely want to take one more wide receiver. Maybe Jalen Tolbert if he's there, of course. Let's go. Oh yeah, Who Hames. You already know what time it is tomorrow. 8:30 p.m. Central. Boom. There's some of it anyways. I mean, I still like to have pieces of good games and good offenses even without the QB. So I like team stacking. So I could definitely see why. But at the same time, that could be a very defensive game. It could be a cold game. It could be a lot of running the ball. Casey likes to run the ball. Denver likes to run the ball. So I don't know. That's my favorite game week 17. It's probably one of my bottom 6, not 16, bottom 8 games. Considering there's 16 games, right, in week 17, that's not in my top 8. Yeah. Let's see what we can do. Possibly. It's, you know, Maybe you can have a rushing QB that can, like a Jalen Hurts could score 3 rushing touchdowns, or Josh Allen, and then you got, QB is very replaceable. I will say that. Jalen Tolbert should be there. I should be able to get him just for my stack, and it makes sense. Just throw it in, last round pick. And then do I go tight end? I've already gotten my San Fran with the Bears. I've gotten some Colts picks. I've gotten could be Juwan Johnson. I don't know if I need him on this team though. Wide receiver wise, Slayton or Savion would be there. I've got Neighbors. I was kind of hoping I would be able to push it and get Dart on this one, but taking Dak obviously negates that ability. Dart's still there. Running back would be like a Justice Hill, a Taj Brooks, Jerome Ford, Ollie Gordon. Do I need the third tight end? Zach Ertz, Colston Loveland. I'm going to say no. I don't need the third tight end at all. I want a skill position player. I don't want Darius Slayton. I've already got Malik Neighbors. The Giants play the Raiders, but there's no Raiders that I'd want. Could be Raheem Mostert. That's kind of a weird bet, though. Justice Hill, Taj Brooks, Ollie Gordon, Raheem Mostert, Savion Williams. I could just stop at running back and go Savion Williams here. It'd be kind of fun. I think I'll take Justice Hill. Just get another piece of a nice offense. I thought a lot about taking Savion Williams. I'm really in on him. I took him a bunch last night on a few teams, actually. And then could have done Taj Brooks. Seems kind of like a thin bet. I think Justice Hill could pay off a ton. Not that I need anything else at running back, but I easily could have stopped with 4 running backs. I think I'm just trying to cover and make sure I've got good players on good teams, and then also just players who have roles on good offenses. Justice Hill showed that last season. I didn't take anyone from Green Bay though, which is fine. So I pull off the stack with Tolbert to bring back with Ertz. I've got Purdy and CMC, which I consider a stack, the way that Christian McCaffrey catches so many balls, and just that offense together. Couldn't pull anyone else off. Where did Pearsall go? This should have been a team I could have considered Pearsall, but I wasn't sure I was going to take Purdy until 107. Pearsall goes 74, so never would have happened. I have Pearsall ranked out of the top 100. Trevor Lawrence with Travis Hunter, and then a bring back in Adonai Mitchell. Who knows? Who knows if Adonai Mitchell can get it together, put together a productive season. Let's refresh. Actually, BBG's still making his pick. BBG's last pick was he took Brashad Smith, which we saw. Woody Marks, we saw. He took Kayshon Boutte with his last pick. So he goes with a 2-6-8-2 build. I'm going to refresh and we can review these teams. All right. So out of the 11th spot, it's a Malik Neighbors team without Jackson Dart, but it does have Christian McCaffrey with Brock Purdy, which is a piece that I like to have together when I go for the Niners. Wasn't able to get Kittle. I could have taken Ayuk, and I think I missed a big opportunity to get Ayuk. I took Mooney instead, which I still like, but I just didn't look far enough ahead. I probably could have grabbed Ayuk and then gotten Mooney, or still had the chance to get Burden. So I think if this team, if it could have been a little bit better in my mind with Ayuk as well instead of Mooney. Still like it. Still good. Trevor Lawrence to go with Travis Hunter, I think makes a lot of sense. Dak Prescott, 15 picks past ADP. Just couldn't pass up on that. And then I had to backstack Dak. Didn't get Blue or Ferguson. So I go with Jalen Tolbert, who had some TDs last season, had a career year. Don't expect much from him, but it works in this build with the 8 wide receivers, stopping at 2 tight ends, giving myself one more connection. So Dak is going to be my weekly floor. I've then got Trevor Lawrence and Brock Purdy that I'm really hoping on for the playoffs, maybe week 17. But I do have Dak in some capacity. And then I have Ertz for the bring back too, but I also just like Ertz a lot as my tight end too, going late tight end. And I took Colston Loveland. So getting a veteran, getting a rookie, the floor, the upside, it just makes sense to me. CMC, Breece Hall, Joe Mixon, Rachaad White. I could have stopped at 4 easily. I almost did it. The week 9 bye is slightly concerning, but then I think Hill is also just a good value at pick 206. Good offense. I want a piece of the Ravens. Didn't have a Ravens player on this team before that. I don't have any Lions on this team either, so also a piece missing. And then no Bengals. Could have been, could have been Tosh Brooks. Neighbors and Hunter. And then, I didn't have a chance to go Dart because I took Dak. In the Dak range, though, there was no one I wanted. The running backs I was not super interested in. And the wide receivers were already dry. It already dried up. I think the draft capital, it's kind of like a bimodal running back. A lot of draft capital early, a little bit late. The wide receivers, I still managed to get 3 really strong guys. Travis Hunter, I think he'll still be good. Of course, Brian Thomas Jr. is there. Mooney, a nice second piece, second option in his passing attack. Burden, need to break out. Keenan Allen, we'll see where he goes, but felt like the right team to take him. Just roll the dice. Scooped Mitchell before it was too late. All the other Colts players were practically gone, and I did want that week 17 bring back because I think my Trevor Lawrence and Travis Hunter bet is one of my stronger bets on this team. The Tolbert pick, the Loveland, the Zach Ertz. Pretty good. I think it works. But we're going to have to advance past a group that has Joe Burrow and Justin Fields, BBG's team. Hampton, Judkins, Benson, Ray Davis, Marks, Rashad Smith. All rookies and sophomores for his running backs. I don't love it. I don't hate it, though. It makes a lot of sense. His first 4. I wonder why he went Marks and Rashad Smith. But just late round picks, so 6 running backs. We'll have to ask him. Yeah, Puppy and Schnauzer are going to fill quick. So I'm doing the Schnauzer via slows to max it. And then the Puppy, I'll just do as many as I feel like it. Not intending to max the Puppy. Appreciate you, my man. Is that you, Harmon? It looks like it could be. Looks like a new profile pic, too. Is that your alt account, Hartman? On your burner. That's funny. That looks cool. I don't know what that is. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I just don't have much patience for the schnauzers. I've been ripping the BBMs, and then I do want to do maybe a few more puppies and maybe doing more eliminators, of course. So I'll get the schnauzers in slow. It seems like doesn't hurt. So BBG pulled it off. He gets the pick, the 7th round Burrow with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins stacked. He also got Garrett Wilson, which is pretty fun, and stacked him with Fields, Flowers, Kirk, Brown, Pat, Bryant, Kayshon Boutte, which is a nice bring back. Now I see it. It makes sense. He and I took Boutte with a Drake May build last week. So I see how the Boutte pick makes sense as a bring back for the Fields and the Garrett Wilson. He gets Kelsey and Freiermuth. I would also stop it at the 2 tight ends. He's got a lot of pieces of the Chiefs on this one. Brown, Kelsey, Smith. It's a fun squad. I mean, he got the elusive late Burrow double stack. So, and he got a stack with Garrett Wilson and Fields. It's pretty sick. I think with the Fields, it helps, though. It definitely helps to have Fields on that one for him. I think the only weakness on his team is the running back room. It's deep, but it's unproven to a large extent. I think Ray Davis could be one of the better picks he made because of the potential for either a holdout for James Cook or they somehow trade him or something, or Ray Davis just takes over a bigger workload from Cook than what Cook was getting last season. Who knows with Hampton and Judkins? I mean, I'm in on both Hampton and Judkins. I think the Hampton price is a little expensive, but he got him past ADP anyways. But is that just like kind of what the trend is? He's kind of falling. Judkins, I like. Trey Benson, I'm more of a James Conner guy, but I think Benson for this team works as a bring back. I just also would have gotten, and maybe he just didn't think about it in the moment, but Michael Wilson would have been good there too later on. And then Brashard Smith, I probably wouldn't do. Not the worst pick, though. He could rise a lot the rest of the season. Woody Marks for this team. I don't know what Marks does. Maybe could have considered a different running back there, but I don't hate it. I mean, just feels like the wide receivers are really strong. Tight end's good enough. Quarterback's really strong. Is the running backs good enough? I think it could be. But yeah, he pulled off a nice squad there. Definitely one to brag about on Twitter. Coolers got Mahomes. A really nice value on Mahomes. So a bunch of QBs fell in this one. I mean, Burrow fell a shit ton. Mahomes falls a whole round and a half. I got Dak a round and a half later. Herbert, 2583 build, gets Bucky. Love that. Bucky and Caleb's a good one too. Gets the Tootin pick, also nice. Spears, a good pick. Giddens, I think you're pretty high on Giddens. I think I've seen you draft Giddens a good amount. Or am I imagining that? Got the rookies balanced out with second-year superstar Bucky Irving. Tajay Spears is just a fun pick. I'm good with those 5. Yeah, the wide receivers look pretty strong. Justin Jefferson, Rashee Rice stacked, Pickens, Pearsall, not my favorite, but Trey Harris, also fun, stacked up. Palmer will get way past ADP is fun. Franklin, get yourself a bring back. I like that pick too. Franklin could be a guy. Maybe he works himself into a role instead of Pat Bryant or Mims or Vele. I think he's an outside receiver, though. I don't know about how much slot he played in college. I'm just not aware of it. But if you know anything about that, Franklin's the piece of the Broncos offense I probably know the least about, but I'm still interested in. Kittle, Gesicki, Schultz. Get the bring back with Schultz, so it makes sense. I like Gesicki. It's just a piece of the Bengals offense. And then Kittle, strong went him early. I think you could have considered stopping with 2 tight ends, but it makes sense to get Schultz for the bring back is the way he did it. So I like this squad. That's fun. What up, Disbanded? How you doing tonight, my friend? Hope you had a good weekend and looking forward to the start of a great week. Yeah, no, I think we've been talking about this kind of during the big board too. During the big board, we were pulling up Lamar to that turn sometimes and doing some interesting things. Who Hames was kind of one of the people that put me on to that whole idea being even possible about alternating off of the Burrow, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase stack, which is like kind of very common, especially not as common as obviously not as common as BBG was able to get in round 7, but in round 5 it's very common. So and yeah, different strategies for the eliminator makes sense too in case you're facing but you're going to be facing such random teams in the head-to-heads. You'll never really I don't think you'll ever really face a team that is even 50% similar to the team that you have in the eliminator. There's almost no chance you're facing common teams. I would guess. I don't think there's too much variability in it because half of the teams advance out of week 1 and then it's head to heads. If it was like weeks 1 to 14 and then you advance and then it's head to heads or something crazy, then you'd see a lot more similar teams that had the whole season to like become more similar towards what would advance. I want to look at the team from Kellison, who was also streaming this draft. And also, I got to check out his channel. Anthony sent it to me in a DM on Twitter. It is the... they went live for an hour and streamed this draft. Fantasy Football Formula. I haven't heard of them, but I'll have to throw a little comment on their video to let them know what's up, that we were in this room with them too. It's fun. Had to check them out. 2682 build from them. I think there was 3 of them drafting. It looked like when I looked at their stream, there was 3 guys on the stream. Lamar Jackson, great value. Matthew Stafford, sure. We'll see what I mean. They have Puka. I'm almost certain. Maybe they have Devontae Adams. I already forgot. What everyone took. Josh Jacobs, freaking great value. So you get Josh Jacobs with Lamar Jackson. I like what they're doing so far. Henderson, great. Sharps, Garindo, super good value on Garindo. Devin Neal, Corum. I would have stopped at 5. After getting the value on Garindo, Josh Jacobs, I probably wouldn't take Corum. Maybe they just like Corum, though. In that case, I wouldn't have taken Neal. Corum, I guess, goes with Stafford. So let's see. They've got Puka, of course. McConkey, Waddle. Yeah, they took Waddle. I didn't see them get Devontae Adams, but they've got... Corum is just another team stack, so they're just betting on the Rams. McConkey, Nakua, Waddle, Diggs. I like their first 4 wide receivers. Josh Downs. Mims at a value at least, so that works. The DeAndre Hopkins pick, they kind of got locked out of... Well, they have Andrews. I would have rather gone a skinny stack Lamar with Andrews and then not taken DeAndre Hopkins. But, we all stack DeAndre Hopkins every once in a while. I just feel like maybe he's just done. Atwell is a great last pick. I'll say that, especially stacked with Stafford. So I like this team a lot. This team looks... Guys, it's not looking good for the team. It's not looking good for me. It's not looking good for you coolers. I like this team, Kellison's team, and BBG's team because of the Burrow and the field stacks. Again, his running back could be stronger, but if we just imagine Hampton is someone doing production like Mixon and Judkins is someone doing production like a James Conner. If you say Mixon, Conner, and the rest of these guys, maybe it looks a little bit different than just the no picture logo for the rookies. So I think I like BBG's team and Kellison's team the most of our four. So we'll just have to follow this one. It'll be a fun one to follow. Coolers. Good luck with it. Somehow we let. I mean, you could have played spoiler, but it's your best ball entry to Best Ball Mania 2. So I don't blame you for not taking Joe Burrow and spoiling BBG. It would have been epic though. He would have hated you for sure. He owes you one, so you can just hold that above his head. You can be like, hey, I could have played spoiler, but it didn't make sense for my team, so I ended up letting you get him. You did snipe him on Gesicki, which was kind of funny, but I don't know that you would want Gesicki after going with T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. Maybe for the season-long bet, and it's pretty cheap, so maybe you would, but good draft. Fun room. Competitive room. Very sharp room. Sharper than I was expecting with the way it started. What threw me off? I thought I saw something early that threw me off a little bit, but it looks pretty standard. Just some falling QBs. Big falling QBs. And then Gorindo going at pick. I can't get over that because I like drafting Gorindo too. I'll take Gorindo at ADP, but for him to go 20 picks past ADP, it's kind of crazy. Could be a great pick. Take him down in another one, get him in on the sprint. Yeah, you did. You took Mahomes and he took all the KC pieces, but you should have expected that. He's pretty bullish on KC. I think we'll have to show him some data on the Denver Broncos defense and how it's going to be one of the better defenses in the league. It took Jahdae Barron in the first round, lockdown corner. So it's going to be tough for the Chiefs in a home game, I'll say that, but a cold outdoor environment, week 17. Yeah, I have to snipe him. Now he owes you for you allowing the Burrow, not letting him get it, but just allowing it, not playing spoiler. So he owes you. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I wouldn't have spoiled it. This is your best ball mania entry as well. You don't have to just throw someone else's team. That's like the worst thing you can do is be like, oh, I just don't want someone else to have a good team. I think you still have to play for your own team, which you did. And you needed a running back, right? You needed an RB2. You needed an RB2. There were still some good ones available. Here's the thing, FK. I think, we don't have to harp on it, but Pearsall over Montgomery or Swift or Pollard or Aaron Jones, I just don't know what universe that makes sense. And I'm not hating on you or your pick on this. Like, to me, I have Pearsall ranked out of the top 100. I'm just curious because, like, he's a guy that paid off because of what he did in week 17. But is it like recency bias, or we think he's actually good, or it's the gunshot wound? The gunshot wound is such a like notorious event that, like, psychologically everyone in the NFL, every fantasy football player knows Ricky Pearsall, and then he got shot. That alone, I think, increases his ADP like 2 whole rounds. I'm not even kidding. I think he's on the 49ers, a good offense. There's somewhat ambiguity around, does Christian McCaffrey come back? Does Ayuk come back? But with, like, I'm assuming Ayuk and Christian McCaffrey both come back and play to some level close to what they've been in the past. And then at that rate, it's like Ricky Pearsall is like super overpriced. And then is it just like this mental thing where he's the guy that got shot? We're taking him in round 7. But Montgomery, Swift, and Pollard are, like, we know who Montgomery is. He's a touchdown kind of dependent, volume dependent guy for the Lions, but still paid off. And then Swift, until further notice, RB1 on the improving Bears, who have a pretty good offensive line, I think, what we've been hearing, if I remember correctly. And then Pollard, also an RB1 on his team. When he's healthy, he's good. Aaron Jones, I think moving in the wrong direction, but still would have paid off last season. So it's tough. I can't see myself clicking Pearsall over any of those running backs. And then just compared to the other available wide receivers, I think Jacoby Myers or Diggs would be more interesting to me. Needless to say, some of these other guys that I have ranked. Going for the Purdy, yeah. Because I do like that you have Kittle. That's why I don't think it's like the worst pick either. I'm just saying, just in a vacuum, the Pearsall piece. I want to learn more. Kittle, I think, is a great pick. Really like the Kittle pick. So then you're like, okay, let me get Kittle and Pearsall, but then, yeah, Purdy would have had to fall, and it's not crazy to think that Purdy would fall because of the way that Dak fell, Burrow fell, Caleb fell a little bit, Bo Nix fell, like quarterbacks, Mahomes fell. So like you were right to believe you could have gotten Purdy at 119, no doubt. So I see where you're going then. I think that makes more sense trying to set it up. I would just make the argument Pearsall's too expensive. Yeah, I get the upside, but here's another thing is like I want to do some research on this, and I don't think there's like an actual ceiling, but I think if we just look at like historically, how many running backs can hit in a single NFL draft? Because we have Neighbors who hit, we have Brian Thomas who hit, we have McConkey who hit. That's 3. I think Marv was a miss, but if we're calling him a hit, that's 4. We have Xavier Worthy, it's 5. So there's already 5 hits. Adunze is a miss, but some people think he's a hit. We'll throw that in as 6. Then Pearsall's 7. Is there realistically 7 top fantasy assets out of one wide receiver draft class? If we look back to like the best wide receiver draft classes for fantasy ever, there's like usually, I mean, the best ever, I'd have to think really hard on that one. Maybe there's 5. Usually there's somewhere around like 3 to 4 elite options / high end wide receiver 1 options at some time. And then like maybe 4 or 5 that are even in the wide receiver 2 conversation. I guess technically we're talking about wide receiver 3s in this range with like Pearsall. And for some teams, wide receiver 4, I guess. So it just seems like it's asking a lot of a draft class to hit, but it was a pretty epic wide receiver draft class. I want to do more. I want to get more framing like of what's possible historically in wide receiver classes. Like, can a single draft class produce that many fantasy viable options? Because it seems like it's just a stretch too far for me. So that's where I'm fading Pearsall. I'm fading Adunze. I'm slightly fading Worthy. They're all year 2 breakout upside plays, but they all had pretty bad, and even a little bit fade on Marvin Harrison. They just didn't live up to the expectation compared to guys like Neighbors, Brian Thomas, McConkey. But we're going to do some more research on that. That's the whole thing. He's got the Rizzy P name. He survived a gunshot. He plays in San Francisco. Like there's too much psychologically that people are eating up that's increasing his price that isn't driven by like any real substance. And he did hit in week 17, so that helps too for like recency bias. Yeah. If McCaffrey comes back, the offense changes a lot. I think he could be. He has a lot of touchdown upside. If half of his touchdowns or some of them go away or go to Gibbs or go to the receivers, it'll look a lot different. He was super inefficient as a runner. And I'm starting to think he goes from 16 touches a game that he had last season to something closer to like 14 or 13 touches a game That would really cap his upside, especially if some of the touchdowns go to Gibbs. So I'm very bullish on Gibbs. I still think David Montgomery can pay off because of the how good the offense is. He gets a decent enough workload volume wise. If he's getting around 15 touches per game, he'll pay off and the touchdowns and all that kind of upside. But I'm just like way more on Gibbs and trying to hope the Gibbs scenario hits because Gibbs is like twice as efficient as Montgomery. Maybe the new coaching staff, the new OC, Ben Johnson will kind of realize that and they'll use Gibbs even more. We'll see. So yeah, Hartman, the argument for Golden is his breakout age is decent. I mean, some of it was at U of H. He has more college production than Ladd McConkey ever did. He played in the SEC just like Ladd McConkey. He had a better final season before going to the NFL than Ladd McConkey did. He got drafted higher than Ladd McConkey did. He's playing in a better offense than Ladd McConkey plays in. And you could argue quarterback play is somewhat similar. Maybe Herbert's better. But that's what I've got going for Golden. He's also very, very fast, and his routes are very nice, a very polished route runner. So statistically, I think the college production wasn't there, but had big plays and big games when it counted against real opponents, and played for one of the best programs in the country. Was the true wide receiver one on that team. Didn't lead the team in receiving. That was Gunnar Helm, but he had to kind of earn his role throughout the year. And then, yeah, he did have some games where he disappeared a little bit. I'll say that too. But Texas ran the ball a lot as well. And then if you think Quinn Ewers is not good, you can blame him. But I'm still in on Quinn Ewers. Read over Golden, especially where their ADPs are side by side. Yeah, I like them both. I'll take them both. I've got Golden ranked pretty high, and I think I have Reed ranked around ADP. It's not showing my rank in here. I'm not sure why. I guess because it's post draft, but I'm pretty sure I've got Golden ranked around 66. Reed ranked around I think actually ahead of ADP. I'm pretty sure I've got Golden in like the low 70s. So I want both of them. And I'm also hoping that Romeo Doubs gets traded. I could see that. But the Packers do run the ball a lot too. I don't think it matters as a real actual ceiling. I just would like to see historically what's the best receiver class of all time in terms of fantasy starters that would be considered wide receiver 2s. Maybe we can stretch it to 3, but I don't really think wide receiver 3 is that valuable. So it's really wide receiver 2s from a weekly scoring standpoint, top 24 scoring ability. The 101 again, how lucky. Yeah, Chris, I'm way in on the Bucks. I mean, you saw what Baker Mayfield did last season. I don't know if he repeats the 41 touchdowns, but I'll draft some Evans, of course. I'll draft some Godwin too, although I want to see him come back from the injury. So I'm a little bit afraid of that, just a little bit. McMillan is the one I'm fading. I don't draft him as much. I just don't think he's as good as Igbuka or Godwin or Evans. So he's going to be last in the pecking order. He got a lot of run last year because of the injuries and missed time by all of the Bucks wide receivers, which is why they took Igbuka to give them depth and a future piece to replace both Godwin's and Evans as those guys get phased out over time. But just for 2025 impact, I still like Igbuka. And then Tez Johnson could be a flyer pick. I could see people drafting Tez Johnson in round 18. I don't think it happens a lot, though. And he's going to have a hard time getting on the field year one. So for best ball. But I like the Bucks. I'm very in on Bucky Irving. Yeah, big in on Gibbs, no doubt. I think Gibbs is potentially the 101 next year. He's the future Christian McCaffrey. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, roster construction, considering, the ADP, those kind of factors that go in. Even with the Bucks, I think the best value on the Bucks Probably it's Bucky Irving, and he's the first one taken, but I think he's probably the safest bet. I also like Rachaad White late. I don't really love Rachaad White, but he's a good enough pass catching back. He's gonna have a role. He's got really good size. He's much bigger than Bucky Irving. Bucky Irving's on the smaller size for a starting running back. He's faster than Bucky Irving. I don't think he takes the job back, and he could get just phased out completely, which I'd be surprised by. But I think he locks down a role as a pass catching, change of pace, third down back for them. I just hope Bucky takes over more of like the workhorse role and actually gets used on third down some more around the red zone. Egbuka, I think, is a decent value. People are afraid of Egbuka because of where he landed, and it's a crowded room, wide receiver room. But I think talent wins out, and then you have Evans, who's a Hall of Famer, but aging, and then has good seasons with touchdown, high touchdown seasons. Sometimes he has the other side of the spectrum, lower touchdown seasons. Maybe Egbuka gets some of those. I don't know. Godwin with the injury kind of scares me a little bit, but I'm drafting them all. Pretty much the only one I don't draft is McMillan. He over exceeded expectation last year with his touchdowns, and then just having all the other wide receivers injured got him on the field more. Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of too. I kind of wanted to pull it up. I think I'll pull it up real quick. That's the one in my head. Let me pull it up. Actually, I don't even think mock draft database goes back that far for what they're showing. We can't go back that far, but that was a really good class. It's fun to go back and look at all the wide receiver classes and see how many players are retired, how many are still in the league. You have a draft class like 2019. N'Keal Harry's a total bust. You got Deebo Samuel, Marquise Brown, A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf, Terry McLaurin. Deontay Johnson was good for a while. Hunter Renfrow was good for a year. Darius Slayton still plays. Just fun to look through. Yeah, no, that's true too. Yeah, that was a good class, right? Mike Evans one, but it's coming to an end. I mean, he's one of the last ones left. No doubt. Yeah, that was a tough room. Sweet. I'm going to kick it to the outro. Catch y'all tomorrow for the show. And yeah, that one wraps it up. Fun draft. Just had to get one more in and catch up with y'all next time. Appreciate you being here. Later.